Glads, these two rackets are so blue that I'm even gonna do this. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Gladiators Drive. My name is Grisha, and today we're comparing the best seller of 2025, the Yonex Ezone 100, and the recently updated Wilson Ultra V5. I just, like a few weeks ago, released the review of the Ultra, and I liked it so much, and I felt like it could be so well compared to the Ezone 100 that I immediately decided to start working on the comparison, because these rackets, like, they couldn't be closer in terms of just how good they are at doing what they were built to do. But the real question is, which one of these is better, and most importantly, which one should you get? Check out the specs. If you guys are wondering why I decided to make a comparison video of these two rackets right after publishing the review of the Wilson Ultra V5, the reason for that is because during the playtest of this thing, for the first time in history, I felt like this could actually compete with the king of power-oriented rackets, the Yonex Ezone 100. By the way, don't mind that this is a 98 version, I just couldn't find the 100. But yeah, you might be thinking, but Grish, you've compared the Ezone to the Pure Drive, and yes, I did, but honestly, I made that video primarily for you, Glads, because me going into comparing those two rackets, I had a clear idea that 9 out of 10 times I would pick the Ezone over the Pure Drive. With this, however, I'm honestly still doubting which one is the better racket, and the conclusion is not as clear as you would like it to be. And although I will try my best to help you with the final decision of which one of these two rackets you should purchase, honestly, no promises whatsoever. But with that out of the way, let's get to the comparison. And let's cover every aspect of the racket one by one, starting with what's probably the most important one, or maybe the second most important one, the power. And honestly, both of these rackets have way too much power for my tennis, but I guess this is not a let's pick a racket of choice for Grisha video, so let's be objective, and I do have to say that the Ultra is noticeably actually more powerful than the Ezone. And if power is the most important criteria for you, just get the Ultra and don't give it a second thought, because honestly, I feel like this is currently the most powerful racket on the market out of all rackets that are available right now. Power is great and all, but it would be useless without any control. And although both of these rackets are very power oriented, I still have to mention it. And honestly, I was very surprised by just how close these two frames were in terms of control, because usually anytime I compared this Ezone to any other power-oriented racket, it would take all of the control points without even thinking. But this time it was actually very close. The Ezone still edges it just a little bit because it's a more stable racket. Like any Ezone, it's just more stable than any other competition, and because of that you get more control and more confidence, but it was a very, very close one. The thing that brings the Ultra closer to the Ezone in terms of control is the fact that it's more predictable than the Ezone. Like, it has happened to me many times where I would go for like a 2/3 into the court approach shot, kind of trying to not risk it too much, and the ball would fly off to the fence. I am exaggerating it, of course, but you know what I mean. With the Ultra, it doesn't happen. Like, if you go for a risky down the line flat out shot 3 meters behind the baseline, you are probably going to miss it, but it's kind of something that you expect, and it doesn't really hurt your confidence. But when you're expecting to clearly put the ball inside with a flat but kind of, you know, safe shot, and the ball flies 2 meters out, that actually hurts the confidence. But still, the Ezone does edge it a little bit. In terms of control, it's a better racket. Now let's talk about the second or first most important aspect in these power and spin oriented rackets, which is the spin. And this time it's another point for the Ultra, because you can literally feel the racket grabbing onto the ball when you're taking the shot, and you can measure the exact amount of spin that you would like to apply to a given shot, and that's something that you don't exactly get with the Ezone. And at this point, just like with power, I feel like the Ultra has become like the benchmark of topspin performance, because I feel like this thing actually spins the ball more than the current Babolat Pure Aero, which has always been the benchmark for spin. By the way, Glads, don't forget that no matter which one of these two rackets you end up picking as your next weapon of choice, the link to get both of these or anything else tennis related, like always, is going to be down in the description below, together with our exclusive discount code that will save you some cash, and as a bonus, it also really helps the channel. But now let's talk feel. Feel is honestly a hard one to judge because they just feel completely different. The Ezone 100 is a little bit more plush and soft when contacting the ball. It almost feels like you're kind of hugging the ball, whereas the Ultra is a little bit more informative of what's happening on the string bat and maybe a little bit more stiff, but some people might prefer that. And since feel is a very subjective thing, and these rackets aren't exactly, you know, feel-oriented rackets, and I wouldn't want feel to be the deciding factor when picking between these two, I would just say that it's a tie, because they feel different. You might like it, you might not like it. Someone might prefer the Ultra feel, someone might prefer the Ezone feel, someone might absolutely hate how the Ezone feels, and same can be said about the Ultra. So yeah, let's just call it a tie. Stability is where the Ezone 100 is going to be the king, no matter what other power-oriented racket you compare it to, and this time it's no exception. Like, the isometric head is just doing things to the racket that make a relatively not heavy racket feel like it just penetrates through the ball like an arrow. And honestly, Yonex have been doing a great job in making their rackets, even power-oriented rackets, super stable and very not wobbly on impact throughout the years, and they keep on doing that, and it's just, you know, kudos to them. So stability is just well-deserved points for Yonex. So which one of these two rackets is better, and more importantly, which one should you get? And here's where things get slightly more complicated, because I will make the following statement. For my game, for my tennis, for my style of play, if I had to pick between these two rackets, I would go for the Yonex Ezone 100. However, I think that you should go for the Ultra V5, and here's why. I, by nature, prefer more control, feel, and stability oriented rackets, which both of these are not. But the Ezone 100 is giving more hints of control and stability to me than the Ultra V5, and therefore, if I was forced to pick between these two, I would go for the Ezone. However, if you're watching this video, you're probably looking for a power and spin oriented racket, and in that case, this is the better option because it spins the ball better than the Ezone and it is more powerful than the Ezone. And although this conclusion is not as clear as I would like it to be, I'm glad to confidently say that no matter which one of these two rackets you pick, you will be satisfied and you won't regret it, as long as you're looking for a power and spin oriented racket. And honestly, if your choice is going to come down to availability or the paint job, don't stress about it. Just get whatever you can get, or whatever paint job you prefer, and don't really, you know, go specific into the specs, because these are both spectacular rackets that are gonna fulfill all your needs. And right now you might be seeing the grades and comparison grades appearing on your screen, but as I always like to say, don't you know, look closely into the grades and make your conclusions based on the actual review and the things that I say, and only look at the grades as a guideline to kind of understand and get the general idea. And while you're still checking out the grades and comparing the two rackets and deciding which one is the better one for you, I will also mention our Instagram page, which I've been super active on, and I've been posting you know, a lot of content, and some of it has actually been pretty popular. So if you're interested in more short form vertical content, feel absolutely free to follow Gladiators Tribe on Instagram. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this comparison video. If you did, feel absolutely free to leave a like and maybe even subscribe and hit the bell. But like always, my name is Grisha, you're watching Gladiators Tribe, and I will see you Glads in the next one. Bye-bye.